Old Glory, the Stars and Stripes, the Star-Spangled Banner. From its inception, the American flag has been an important part of our nation's history. Surviving over 200 years, this flag has both physically and symbolically grown and developed in times of both achievement and in times of crisis. The American flag is a symbol known worldwide. It has been the inspiration for holidays, songs, poems, books, artwork, and so much more. The flag has been used to display our nationalism as well as our rebellion and everything else in between. The flag is so important that its history tells the story of America itself. It represents the freedom, dignity, and true meaning of being an American. It has been with us through our war times, our sad times, but also in times of our greatest joys and triumphs. She went through many variations before becoming the flag that we all know and love. In fact, it would take from January 1st, 1776 to August 21st, 1960 to reach this glorious image that we celebrate. When we think of the American Revolution, we oftentimes think of it in terms of its final form, as independence from Great Britain. But the American Revolution was a work in progress. It did not start out as a movement for independence, but as a movement to gain seats in the British Parliament. It evolved from a protest to a complete and revolutionary movement for independence, and our flag has reflected the various stages of our nation's maturation. Now let us gaze upon the components that make up our current U.S. flag, this 27th version of our national flag. We have the canton or blue field, the stars, the stripes. The earliest use of stripes and flags in what was to become America is from the Sons of Liberty. The Sons of Liberty were the original Tea Party members. These were those rambunctious gentlemen that threw the chests off of the ships in Boston Harbor into the waters. Starting after the Stamp Act of 1765, the Sons of Liberty began to protest. They designed a flag that looked very similar to our modern flag, only with less stripes. The pattern, however, was the same, and it could be displayed either horizontally or vertically. This may have been the pattern that contributed to the stripes of our modern design. In 1775, at the beginning of the Revolution, independence had not yet been declared. The Continental Congress met in Philadelphia when a somewhat obscure militia colonel from Virginia came forward in his uniform and volunteered to take command of the troops outside of Boston, overlooking Boston Heights. That colonel's name was George Washington. When he left Philadelphia, he took with him two flags. The Grand Union, or the Continental as it was called. This was the first flag under which Continental soldiers would fight. It uses an alternating red and white stripe, 13 stripes, pattern similar to the Sons of Liberty flag, having the 13 stripes signifying the 13 colonies. However, you would notice on this flag that instead of stars on a blue field, he had the King's colors, also known as the Union Jack. This flag had a very specific meaning. It meant that we were fighting as 13 united colonies, but under British rule. Remember, at this time, we had not yet declared independence. The other flag that Washington took with him is known as Washington's headquarters flag. On this flag, the entire field is blue. There are 13 stars arranged in a pattern known as the 3-2-3-2-3 pattern. 5 rows of alternating stars of 3 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, and 3 stars. However, you would also notice that the stars were 6-pointed stars, a slight difference from the 5-pointed star on the current flag. This would be the first use of the star pattern on an American flag. Today, you can see a copy of this flag hanging in front of Washington's headquarters at Valley Forge. A year later, on July 4th, 1776, Congress declared independence from Great Britain. From that moment on, we were fighting for our independence. Yet the Continental Congress still had not yet designed a new American flag. That flag came about on June 14th, 1776, when Congress passed the first of three major flag acts. The first act stated that, quote, the flag of the U.S. shall consist of 13 alternating stripes of red on white, with 13 white stars on a blue field, forming a new constellation. What it left out was the following. Were those stripes to be vertical or horizontal? Where was the blue field to be placed? What was the star pattern to be used? And how many points were to be on each star? And so now begs the question, who designed the flag? In 1776, you could not go into a store and buy a flag off the rack. In days of American antiquity, flags were made in one of two ways. Since most flags had a naval use, you could go to a ship's chandlery, a store that outfitted ships, and the chandler would contract with a sailmaker, or in many cases, an upholsterer would make the flag. An upholsterer in colonial times had more functions than what we typically think of today. Besides working on furniture, they made flags and other military equipment. This is where the legend of Betsy Ross now joins our story. We know that Betsy Ross was an upholsterer who made flags for the Pennsylvania Navy. What we do not know is, did she really design the first American flag? There's a great deal of controversy that surrounds this legend. In 1870, Betsy Ross's grandson, while addressing a historic society in Philadelphia, stated that his grandmother relayed to him that she had met with George Washington, Robert Harris, and George Ross and designed the flag. But was it she that designed it, or was it Francis Hopkinson that would design it? See, Francis Hopkinson was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence from the state of New Jersey. The only evidence of who made the flag is a bill that was submitted to Congress by Francis Hopkinson that stated for designing the flag, he was owed 2 casks of ale. What we do not have is a picture of the flag, a written description of the flag, or even a sketch of the flag. And so this mystery still remains in American folklore. Regardless of these facts, the legend lives on, and the first flag of the Revolutionary period is referred to as the Betsy Ross flag. The pattern of stars on the blue field is known by 3 names: the Betsy Ross pattern, the Philadelphia pattern, or the single wreath pattern. The blue field on the flag also goes by 3 names: the Union, the Field, or the Canton. Because Congress did not set the specifics of where this field would be, or how the star pattern should look, or how many points the star should have, during this period and up until 1912, the stars could be arranged in any manner that the flag maker chose to place them. When Congress put together the notion of the flag, they blended the already established design of alternating stripes of red on white, signifying the United Colonies, in a blue field with 13 stars, just like the Washington's headquarters flags. Many people believe that this may have been the flag that Francis Hopkinson designed, but once again, this is only speculation. After the Revolutionary War ends, our nation composes and authors a new constitution. We elect General George Washington to be our first president, and in 1792, we bring in 2 new states, Vermont and Kentucky. Now the question arises, what must we do with the flag? Because the original Flag Act called for 13 stripes and 13 stars to represent the original 13 colonies. What do we do now to signify the addition of 2 new states to the Union? At this time, Congress passes the Second Flag Act that states that moving forward, we would add 1 stripe and 1 star for each new state. This new 15 star and 15 stripe flag is known as the Star Spangled Banner. It is the flag that flew over Fort McHenry and inspired Francis Scott Key to write our national anthem. After the War of 1812, we began to add more states. And as we incorporated more stars and stripes into the design, our flag was beginning to look a little peculiar. So in 1818, Congress passes the third of the 3 major flag acts. It stated that the design was to go back to the original configuration of 13 alternating stripes of red on white, representing the 13 original colonies, but we would add 1 star for each new state. However, once again, it did not specify what pattern the stars should be arranged or the number of points added to the stars. And so there were many variations of the flag designs during this time. Finally, In 1912, President William Taft established the pattern of stars that we know today. See, our flag is an inspiring symbol that unites us all as American citizens. The unique history of the American flag follows the history of our country and reminds us of the triumphant beginning of these United States. The 13 stripes, a symbol of the first 13 colonies. The stars, a symbol of our country's 50 United States. And as our country grew and developed, so did our flag. Today, our flag remains a vibrant symbol of American principles of a constitutional republic, justice and freedom, with the everlasting memory of those who have sacrificed their lives defending these intrinsic principles of the United States of America. Over 200 years ago, the Second Continental Congress officially made the Stars and Stripes the symbol of America, going so far as to declare that the 13 stars gracing the original flag represented, quote, a new constellation, end quote, with the ideal that America embodied a bright new hope and light for all of mankind. Today, our flag continues to carry the inspirational and fundamental convictions of our great nation, and by the grace of the Almighty, will continue to do so for many more generations to come. Because you see, I am no ordinary flag, but I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's great halls of justice. I fly majestically over our institutions of higher learning. I stand guard with power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am courageous. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is held a little higher. My colors are a little truer. I bow to no one except the Almighty. I am recognized all over the world. I am praised. I am saluted. I am loved. I am revered. I am respected, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. I flew at Valley Forge and triumphantly at Fort McHenry. I inspired Francis Scott Key to pen the anthem of our nation. I was broken and I wept at Gettysburg, Shiloh, and Appomattox, but yet I still flew high, unyielding with great resolve that these United States might once again be reunited. I was there at San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, and the beaches of Normandy. Guam, Okinawa, Quezon, and Saigon know me. I was there at Wanat and Kamdesh, Ramadi, and Fallujah. I have been to the deepest depths of Central and South American jungles and African rainforests. I was there, I led. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my defenders cheered me on, and I was proud. I have been burned, torn, and trampled in the streets of countries that I have helped to set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled in the streets of my own country. And when it's done by those with whom I've served in battle, this is when it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space from my vantage point on the moon. I have borne silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but our finest hours are yet to come. When I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the battlefield, or when I am flown at half-mast to honor my fallen, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen son or fallen daughter, I am proud, for I am the flag of the United States of America.